we tried some restaurant. There was a restaurant, the restaurant called, so at that restaurant, actually what happened is that we didn't actually understood the menu.
We went on a nice date. He gave me 10K. And and that guy, he saw me there. He was so jealous. They couldn't even hide it. And I was holding, and that guy was like...
Biggie organized a dinner for housemates. And he tells them to dress decently, obviously. So housemates are dressing, preparing for their dinner, and llano is seen with her makeup box trying to glam up herself, and Romona tells llano that she doesn't really know much about fashion. So housemates are getting ready and the stage is set for them outside for their dinner, and the dinner is themed summer dinner. They go outside, the table is colorful, the plates are so colorful, different food. In fact, there's one chair housemates were observing round. They were like, that chair over there is for the HOH. And some people were like, this dinner, something is going to happen. So Biggie calls the HOH to come, and the HOH goes to meet Biggie. Housemates are serving food that they will eat. There were so many dishes, and those that have served, they come to their table, sit, and they are eating. As some people are eating, they are talking to the people they wish to talk to. Offentse reads the brief he got from Biggie. So there are cards Biggie arranged on a table, this table. So you're going to pick a card, in fact envelope. When you open the envelope, there's a bracelet. Now there's a king chair. That chair they were saying is for HOH is called a king chair. Now when they get their envelope, they'll sit on this king chair. Open it, open the envelope, where the bracelet they find inside this envelope. There are 3 questions each. The housemate sitting on that king chair is the only one authorized to answer the question he or she opens. So it's going to be turn by turn. The first housemate that goes is King Wanda. His first question is, have you ever stalked anybody on social media, and how deep? He said yes, his ex, and he narrates the story behind it. The second question is, what's the messiest thing you've done to impress somebody? And he said none. His last question is, worst excuse to get out of a situation? And he says there was this one time he went out with this friend group that he didn't really like. He wasn't having fun, so he texted his sister, please say mama needs me at home. That was how his sister called, and he went out with the friends he was comfortable with. That is really something. Second housemate is Mali. His first question is, what's the meanest thing you've ever said to someone? He said it's not really mean, because in his friend group, this is just how they joke with each other. They say a lot of things to each other, but it might sound mean, but it's not mean. This one time his friend said his father left, and Male replied this friend that you can call your dad, but I can call mine. Apparently his friend's dad is not so present in the life of his friend. But Mali said shout out to present dads. Second question, advice to your younger self. And he says they don't care about you, just do your thing. That he's the only child of his parents, And growing up, he's this child that always wanted validation from people. But growing up, he realized that his parents have always been there for him, and he appreciates his parents the more. The last question is, what's 5 things you take to an island? He said water, running shoes, 1 bracelet, 1 jacket, compass to find his location. The third housemate, TheDon, they say, in a cartoon character, which character will you be? And he said Ben 10. His second question, most petty thing you've ever done. He said there was this one time he was to groove with his friends. They left him and went because he was sick. The next weekend he was okay. He went and left them. If you were to time travel to any era, which era will that be? He said none, because he's in the best era he can ever be. Next housemate, Mshefane, and his question is, if you have the ability to make something come true, a wish, what will you wish for? And he said to win the 2 million. The next question, most spontaneous thing ever done. He said none. He's always a normal person, but maybe if he leaves the Bazozwa house, he'll be spontaneous. Last question, bridge he secretly wants to rebuild. Maybe a friendship he wants to amend. And he said none. People come and go. There's a season for people. If people have gone, they've gone. That is their season. llano, skill you instantly want to master. She said to master, to listen more and starve her destruction and feed her focus. She's a deep person. Second question, a moment that changed your life forever. She said the day she said Bazozwa unapologetically. Craziest moment done with friends. She said a journey to be with her, and that's a weird energy. Lawerdo, one thing you do that annoys people. There's this sound he makes. I don't know how to make it. Or something like that. Ever faked liking something to get along with friends? He said no, he's not the type to like try and please people like that. We either get along or we don't. The third one is one person you owe an apology. He said his younger self, there are opportunities growing up we missed. So I'm sorry to my younger self, but I'm going to rewrite it by winning the 2 million. Dene Jones, one thing you always wanted to try. She said not living by the books. No to rules. Every day is going to be an adventure when she leaves here. Second question, who will play you about your life in a movie? And she said the person's name, I can't remember. Third question, if your exes had to say something about you, what will they say? She said, I wish I never left that girl. Kokii, childhood memory you will never forget. She said, being a cunt to everybody. Second question, ever had a crush, dated younger or older? She said yes, she has dated younger. What will you be remembered for? She said the way I dress. Yes, the way she dressed is remarkable. Romona, biggest, hardest challenge you've ever had to overcome. She said increasing her patient budget, and this has self-sabotaged her. A song that will make you feel you can take over the world. She said Carnival, WAP. If you had unlimited budget for a day, what will you buy? And she said Ford Mustang. Dube, ever borrowed something for a from a friend and you never return? He said yes, actually, his ex. Most wildest expensive thing bought to make you feel better. Dube says he's a very simple person. He's not really after expensive things. That okay, after a long week, taking himself out on a nice treat, a solo date. So most ridiculous thing as a teenager your family don't know. That's okay. He laughed and he said there are a lot. He doesn't even know the one to say. So he said there was this one time he was in boarding school and he lied to his parents that he was going to his friend's house, only for them to like get this beach house, and they all changed, went clubbing. And when they went clubbing, he saw this woman. Looking at this woman, she didn't look her age, but after getting together, that's when he knew that she is way older than him, but she looks younger. And housemates were laughing. Neliswa, worst habits she secretly loves, she said talking to boys. Something she's still fighting about life. She said she doesn't stress about life. She has passed the age whereby she stresses about things. Weirdest thing you've bought online, she said this weirdest thing cost her 700 rand from Honey Bond. Sia, if offered 250,000 to tell your biggest secret, will you? She said instantly, and housemates were like, tell us what date she has ever been to. She said this one time she went to the restaurant with this guy and they gave a menu. They did not understand what was on the menu, but they did not want to ask. But it's like the person that gave the menu was looking at them from the mirror, more like he knew. So she picked something her and this person ate, but you see that like the thing had garlic, so they were struggling to eat the thing. But as she was saying it, Sia is somebody that when she talks, you need patience to hear what she'll say, because more like she has anxiety. Lie you've told to get out of a situation. And Sia said she and Mali were talking and she didn't really get what the wager was about, and he was asking her questions, so she had to go with the flow like she knew. And Mali said he knew. Actually, he knew. So, Mashel, best compliments received that he smells good. Who got away? And he said no one. Signature dance move, and he demonstrated. Didi, what's that thing that makes her day better? She said waking up to her partner. Swap with anybody for a week. She said that would be Rihanna. Swap with an animal for a week, and she took a minute to pause and she was like, okay, maybe panda. Liema, life lesson learned the hard way. She said everything in friendships she has learned, in relationships she has learned, in school she has learned. In fact, she failed before she even learned, but not like she has repeated. Even Big Brother, she learned the hard way and she was given a second chance. Most petty thing ever done. She said this one time she got tickets for this event. She gave this guy, and this guy was to be a photographer for the event, and he was like, he's not going with her. She checked her contacts and she saw this doctor guy. She gave him a ticket. So before that, the doctor guy, she told this other guy, okay, give me transport. This guy did not give her transport, and this doctor guy gave her 10K for transport. So this photographer that didn't want to go with her, he snapped her and her date and she was feeling herself. What about childhood were you warned about? And she was like, nothing. She said, oh, finances. Q, something you secretly judge people for. He said, judging people for judging one another. We should try and be kind to one another. One thing you thought you outgrow but you never did. He laughed hard. He said physical features. When he was younger, he was keeping dreadlocks. Girls always liked him. But now, no, he's not. He doesn't have dreadlocks. Most awkward things said and done in public. So he said he was dating his ex this one time and he embarrassed her and told her that he loved her in front of people. And this, his ex, is somebody that is shy. But he's a social butterfly. Ashay, redo a relationship. Which one will you do? He said he's in his first and only relationship currently. Will you rather be caught cheating or laughing in a game? He said cheating. If you could switch lives with a fictional character, what will it be? And he was like, what is frictional? Housemate explained, and he was like, okay, super striker. 18, Bravo B. What's your goal? I don't really understand how he read this question, but it had to do with karaoke and he did some kind of gestures. Yeah. Second question, how do you define success? He said not having to stress about anything is success. To be free from stressing from what you're gonna do next. Most ridiculous outfit worn. He explained the outfit and how the outfit looked on him. He did a demonstration. Bully B. When it was her turn, Biggie said, housemate, freeze. So her question, if your online history were made public, which will you delete? She said her ChatGPT history. Most unforgivable thing you are forgiven, and she said cheating. Most treasured childhood memory, and she said to be on TV. So she's living her childhood dream. Trixie, worst excuse to get out of something. She said being on her period. In fact, she has been on her period since June because of work. What's one thing that instantly makes you angry? She said when someone aggressively touches her, don't push her. Funniest thing that happened to her in public, none. Tumi the Barber, most embarrassing text or email you accidentally sent to someone. He said this one time he was trying to text a celebrity, Naledi, this Zulu Apo lady. If you had a personal theme song, what will it be and why? He said his favorite is Breezy, but Don't Judge Me by Chris Brown because people always judge him. If you could relive one day of your life exactly, what will it be? He said the day he walked into the Bazozwa house. Thandeka, if you could swap jobs with someone for a day, who will it be? She said, nobody. I love my life. One guilty pleasure you refuse to feel guilty about. She said, I don't have any. I just do what I want. Biggest lesson learned the last year. She said, I love who I have become. 30 is nice. I'm evolving. This girl, she's one lady that I know is so proud of her 30. And this is so beautiful. And great. Offentse. What motivates you to keep going when things get tough? He said legacy, family, culture, community, my roots, where I come from. Best advice ever received, and he said it in his language. Thank you so much, Trizzy. And he says, instead of trying to be everywhere, just observe, be calm. If you could be a superhero, what powers will you have? He said X-ray vision. So guys, thank you so much. See you on my very next video. Bye.